Altered Carbon, Season 1, Episode 5 was surprisingly good. So we essentially have the end of the season in halfway. Like, we have the end of our first arc, I guess. Right, we get the resolution of the kind of like murder case that Takeshi Kovacs has been working on for the first 5 episodes. We get the resolution of that. And the way that they resolve that is a little underwhelming. Like, more underwhelming than I would have hoped it would be. Like, find out, oh, it's just his son. It's kind of thrown away. It's like a throwaway line, like halfway through the episode. Oh, his son did it. He ended up getting arrested for it. And I was hoping there'd be a bit more payoff than that. And it just wasn't. Like, hardly any payoff at all. But what happens after that is a lot more interesting, because I think now that we're done with that like mind-bending murder case storyline, I think we can finally get on to what the best part of this show has been. The action, we can get a lot more of that, because the episode ends with a spectacular like elevator fight. Like, we have these 2 police officers, like the main police officer and her partner, like in an elevator, fighting each other. Like the main police officer character, who we find out that the body that Takeshi Kovacs is in, the body of Joel Kinnaman, was in his past life the boyfriend or the love interest of this police officer. So as we go forward with that, and we then get more of a relationship building of Takeshi Kovacs and the police officer as well. But she gets brutalized by the end of this fight. But her partner, who earlier on in the episode basically just threatens or gives a promise to Takeshi Kovacs, which is basically, you hurt my partner, I will kill you, kind of thing. She kind of bites him on the arse at the end, because he ends up dying at the end of this episode. This guy who has kind of been following Takeshi Kovacs throughout the series, but still thinks that Takeshi Kovacs is who this body's past life was, this Riker, and still thinks that the body thinks that it's Riker's brain in the body. Doesn't know that it's got a different stack in it. So the partner gets shot in the throat, and he's, for all we know, dead. I would be very surprised if he survived it. If he survived that. The other police officer is like brutalized to near death. you know she's a good character when I can't remember her name. But yeah, and she takes up 90% of the show, and Takeshi Kovacs takes up hardly any of it. But yeah, the most interesting part of the series is the action. Like, I don't really care about the whole plot and stuff, and we do have a bit more of seeing how like all of the murder cases and everything that's happening in the show is connected somehow. We don't get any answers on how they're connected. That comes later. That's probably going to come in like episode 7 or 8. But the thing is, with a show like this, nothing really happens. There is no plot going forward, and the plot that does go forward, like something that's supposed to be interesting, like them solving the main crux of the show, there's just nothing to talk about that. They just find out who it is. Right. It was his son. And he's got a huge printer. Throw him away. And then someone else dies. Ooh, we've got a new villain who's actually had a little bit of setup, and by a little bit of setup we mean he's watched our main character have sex, and he's watched the other character like do something. Nothing really, like, we don't get any like progression. Like throughout the first arc, it was kind of doing nothing and maybe a fight, doing like sitting around, a little bit of walking, fight, getting tortured, fight, find out who is behind everything, don't even show him getting arrested, then like arrest him off screen, then go to a police station. God knows how he was let in, because he's being seen as a terrorist at the moment. I mean, I wouldn't let out. We would let any terrorists into a police station. They do. They let him into the police station. And then, let me guess, next episode they're gonna blame him for everything, even though he didn't even go in the elevator with them. Because that's how shows like this go. If they don't go that route, be surprised. So yeah, the conclusion of everything was rushed, and the moving on from that was interesting. And when the partner character did die, it was emotional. It did have some weight to it. And yeah, the build up to the payoff is there, and it feels like the show is doing what I wanted it to do from the beginning. It just feels like too little too late. It's improving. I don't think it's improving enough. I want to see more, and I want to see it be better. I want to see it like improve. lot more than it actually is, because it hasn't improved enough for me to actually recommend the show. Like, it's bored me, like, to the point where I've considered, like, just stopping watching it because I don't have any interest in it. But I have to watch it. That's what's so annoying about this whole YouTube thing. I'm obligated. I'm obligated to watch crap because that's what's entertaining. Watching people get annoyed at crap. Well, I'm getting annoyed at crap. And although it's getting better, and by the end of the series, it's probably going to be like probably a decent show, but because it's such a slog to get there, it's just annoying. It's moving at a snail's pace. Like, it's annoying. Just pick up the pace. Just have something happen that interests me, like what happened at the end of this episode, but it's episode 5. Like do that in like episode 2. Like, have a big set piece in episode 1 even. Is just do yourselves a favour. Don't watch Altered Carbon. I'm only watching it because I started reviewing it, and I have to finish it. Otherwise, my OCD's gonna kick in. But just don't bother. It's not worth it. I read an article somewhere that stating it was titled "Altered Carbon is an ambitious mess." I don't even think it's ambitious. To be ambitious, you have to like show that you need to have an interest in what you're doing, and it feels like even the world isn't that interesting anymore. Like, in the first episode, the world was interesting. There was an interest in like the whole sleeving system. Now it just feels like it's a way to get out of things. It's like, it feels like our main character is a bit of a Mary Sue as well. Like, he's been in all these situations where he should have died, but he just hasn't, because he's the main character. And that's literally the only reason I can think of that he has survived. Like, the flashbacks that we are given in each episode go on to show how he can get out of the situation that he's in that episode. They don't show or develop more of his character. They're just relevant for the plot at the time. And I know a lot of shows do that. It's just a gripe that I have with shows that do that, including this one. So yeah, just don't watch Altered Carbon. Just do yourself a favour. It's not worth it. A show that takes 5 episodes to get good, to get interesting, isn't really worth watching the first 3. So, I have been Luke Warner. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and peace.